residential financing as well. My name is Katie. I'm the residential sales manager here at GreenSpark, and John and I today are kind of going to be given a nice overview of GreenSpark in general, kind of how solar works on your home, and then kind of talk about our financing and how that works with solar and how that can go hand in hand with your energy bill. If you are interested in learning more, if you're interested in getting a custom proposal for your home and kind of how solar would work for you directly, please feel free to go to our website and put your name in, and then you'll hear from my team, and we'll give you a custom proposal and kind of how many panels will fit and how much energy we can offset, and we can move you forward. John, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm John Conklin. I've been with GreenSpark here since 2014, and I'm the residential sales team lead. So I would be one of the people you could talk to about, setting up a proposal for your home, and working through a lot of the ins and outs of what that means, how the system would work at your house, the financials, how much money you'd save, incentives, anything you can think of. It's a pretty consultative approach we have, and really just trying to be informal and educating people as to what solar is and how it could benefit them.
Great. So as I'm going through any of these slides, please feel free to either put questions in the chat or in the Q&A box. I'm going to be monitoring them throughout the session here, and we'll try and answer them here live. If there's anything that you want to answer directly or directly about your home, please feel free, like I said, to put your name on our website, and we'll set up a one-on-one meeting with you. So first that we like to talk about a little bit more about GreenSpark here, and the first is that we are a certified B Corp, which means that we are audited regularly by a third party to make sure that we are adhering not to just profits and growth, but to a triple bottom line of people, profits, and planet. So on top of being a solar company, we also do everything we can through composting, recycling, having zero waste events. In order to kind of do good for the planet, we also pay great wages here at GreenSpark, have great benefits. We're a great place to work. So we, like I said, get audited regularly on this to ensure that we are adhering to that triple bottom line. And we just like our customers to know that, your money is going to a good, fiercely local company here in Rochester. And a couple other things, we're always hiring, so please feel free to go to our website. Everyone from installer to DE&I associates, we're always looking for people to join our team. We're a great place to work. We've been voted a top workplace 6 years in a row. But what's super beneficial for you is that we have been designated a quality solar installer by NYSERDA. NYSERDA is the New York State Research and Development Association. They're going to give you money for going solar, and they want to make sure the people that they give money to are getting good quality systems. They not only look at conduit runs and how we installed everything, but they also looked at what we tell you that you're going to produce on your home is actually what you're going to be producing, making sure that we have honest proposals and making sure that we just give you a very high quality system. We're really the only one in the Rochester area that has that distinction. And we love giving that to our customers. And I'll pass it over to John here to talk a little bit more about GreenSpark.
Yeah, so some of the stuff we're proud of here that's had a big impact, we think, locally. In terms of all of the solar we've installed, it's enough to power 24,000 homes, which is a good chunk of energy in the greater Rochester area. It's a good chunk of the people here, and that's equivalent to the 200 megawatts. That's looking at it from a industry scale. 200 megawatts is kind of the equivalent there, and to achieve that, we've had to hire and enjoyed hiring 100 people permanently here at this one location we have in Ontario, New York, and then on top of that, we have played a role in hiring more than 200 jobs annually for the construction of some of the larger solar projects that we complete each year. The people, planet, profit, we've been able to generate a lot of revenue with all of these projects, which is important to bring that money to this area of the state to hire all of these local employees and help with the local economy. And that has a big environmental impact as well. You can look at it a couple different ways. A good analogy for the impact all of this renewable energy has had in this area from an environmental perspective. 16 billion cell phones charged annually, which is obviously a pretty massive thing to visualize. And that's the equivalent of 3.5 million tons reduction in CO2 in this greater Rochester area.
Yeah. So now that we've kind of given an overview of GreenSpark, just really quick, we kind of want to dive a little bit more into kind of what we like to call Solar 101 and kind of how solar works here in upstate New York. So John's going to kind of give you a nice little overview of how that'll work on your home, and then we'll go into our financing and rates and all of that.
Yeah, so anytime someone goes solar, at their home here, we will run you through this, where we're just kind of breaking down the 101 of how the system works. So whether it's panels on your roof or panels on the ground, which we install as well for residential settings, the panels produce DC electricity, direct current. And the main reason I mentioned that is because we need to convert that DC power over to AC power, alternating current, to be able to interconnect it at your home. The alternating current is what your home's powered by and also what's running through our power lines. So the two big pieces of equipment we install, number one, obviously, the one everybody knows and sees, the panels. Number two, definitely less visible. As you're driving by a house, you're not going to see these. But equally important are the inverters that do the job of swapping over the DC power to AC power so that your home can use it. So those are really the two big pieces of equipment. So we will feed the DC power from the panels directly into some inverters that get swapped over to AC. And from there, we're interconnecting the AC power into your home's electric panel. So with that in mind, all of the electricity that the system produces is fed to your home first before the utility has anything to do with things. So your electricity produced by your solar panels is used up instantaneously when you need it. But oftentimes, once your home has had the chance to use the electricity produced by your solar panels, you'll have excess electricity. You're not going to use it up all at once, all the time. So in that event, the excess electricity that you might not be using will go back out to the grid, whether it's RG&E, National Grid, or NYSEG. We work in really those three utility territories here in the greater Rochester area. You're going to send that electricity back to them. And every time you send a kilowatt hour, a unit of energy, back to the utility, you're going to be credited 1 equal kilowatt hour credit to use at a later date. And in New York, the policy is if you send a kilowatt hour back to the grid, you're going to be receiving 1 full kilowatt hour credit to use, like I said, at a later date. And that's a really fantastic policy, the 1-for-1 crediting system. Most other states, almost all other states, have done away with that sort of policy. It is really advantageous to the homeowners because if you think of it from the utilities perspective, it's like they're paying you 13 cents, which is the retail rate right now for electricity. From the other suppliers out there, whether they're buying electricity from a power plant in Pennsylvania, right? They're spending maybe 2 cents to buy a kilowatt hour. But for a homeowner, right, it is a really good deal. To give you a little bit of background there. So we're lucky to have it. And that's the gist of really what we're doing, what we're installing, and how things work with the utility. If we're able to install a system that covers 100% of your electric bill, which is the goal for a lot of homes, what generally happens is you build up a pretty solid bank of kilowatt hour credits on your account throughout the warmer 4 to 5 months of the year. And then when the colder, not so great weather hits, your system will not generate enough electricity to power your home on its own. So you will start to run through some of the kilowatt hour credits that you had accumulated in the previous warmer, 4 to 5 months. And the idea is you should have run through all of your credits by the time winter is over and spring hits, and then you start to overproduce again once April, May rolls around. So that is net metering in a nutshell and the 101 of how the system would work.
Great. Thanks, John. So the next thing for solar in New York is there's going to be a few different incentives that are going to come your way for going solar. So when you get your custom solar proposal, you'll have a top line gross system price, and from there you'll start seeing the savings coming down. So the first one that I like to talk about is the New York State, is the NYSERDA incentive, which is currently at 20 cents per watt. We apply for that for you. We do all the permitting for that, all the inspections for that, and we take that right off your top line gross system cost. That is a first come, first serve block. Once the funds are up, the funds are up. That block just opened, so it should be open for a while here for everybody to start using. And then after that, you'll kind of have your contract price, and that's what you're going to take to your accountant to tell them how much you spent on solar to try and get the federal and state tax incentive. So the first is the 30% federal tax incentive that was enacted with the Inflation Reduction Act last year and is good till 2032. So for almost the next 10 years, if you buy solar, you take it to your tax accountant and you say, I went solar, this is how much I spent on it, you would work to get that 30% back. Same with the New York State tax credit. That is a 25% tax credit, but it is capped at $5,000. So pretty much anyone that's getting a solar system is going to hit that $5,000 cap. So you might have your top line gross cost. Then after that, you're going to have your NYSERDA incentive. And then after that, you're going to get your 2 tax credits. So while on your custom proposal, you'll see a high top line gross price, that's going to start coming down to what you'll actually spend on your system based on all the different incentives that solar has right now. So now we're going to kind of talk about financing. So there's 3 really great things to our financing. The first is we have pretty good rates. We have $0 down and then no payments for 6 months. So the first is we have a really great rate. If you're watching rates right now like we are, they are going up, up, and up. I think mortgage rates are currently in the 7%. I got an email from a personal loan that I took out, I think last year, the year before, that I took out for about 5 to 6%. And I got an email the other day that said, come back and take out another loan with us. Our rates are great. They're at 11% right now. So we're seeing rates go up across the board, but we're actually really excited that we can offer a 6.99% rate right now. So at a 6.99% rate, that's going to be locked in for the length of your loan. So you don't have to worry about, the Fed continuing to raise rates and potentially your rate going up as well. That is locked in. There's no prepayment penalties with that as well. So if you take it out, you get 3 free reamortization. So you would take it out, and then when you get your tax credits back, you'd bring that down, which would lower your monthly cost. Maybe you come into some money in a few years, you can bring it down again and lower your monthly cost, and then you can pay it off, just in a couple of years if that's something you're interested in. So there's no prepayment penalties. Also $0 down and no payments for 6 months. So right now we're installing to close to the end of the year through the rest of August. If you sign a contract with us in August, we can get you installed in 2023 so that you can take advantage of those 2023 tax credits. And it's 6 months from the day we get on your roof. So let's say we get on your roof on December 1st. You have 6 months, get you to May of next year, get you through tax season so you can get those tax credits back and bring your loan down to a nice low monthly cost. And we'll calculate all of that for you during your custom solar proposal. So we'll give you the approximate date so that we'll come out and install. And then from the day we get on your roof, you don't pay anything for 6 months. You start to see your energy bill start to come down from your solar producing, and still you're not making payments for 6 months. You get those tax credits back and put that towards your loan. And still, again, you don't have to make any payments for 6 months. So it's really the perfect time to go solar, not only with the current rates that are out there, but also with how our financing structure works. So if you are interested in financing your system, with how our financing works, right now is the best time. Like I said, till the end of August, we can get you in on our 2023 install schedule, and then we can get you through to tax season so that you can pay down and pay that lower monthly amount after you get your tax credits back, and not even have to worry about, before tax credit payments. And like I said, $0 down, so you could sign a contract today and not pay till mid next year because it's 6 months after we get on your roof. So it's a good chunk of time where you can start to tell your friends you're going solar, where you can get that solar on your roof, and then you can start to see your rates come down before you even make a payment towards it. John, do you want to kind of chat about this slide a little?
Yeah, so when you finance your solar installation, one of the real benefits is, starting out, what you will pay per month is going to be, likely in the same ballpark of what you're saving. It might not be a a one-for-one wash, but it's going to be something similar to what you're used to paying, maybe a little bit more starting out. But the real benefit, with solar, especially when you finance it, is as the cost of electricity goes up and up, obviously that energy rate arrow there, you're going to be saving more and more money because your monthly payment for your loan is fixed for the life of the system. So, you pay $100 a month starting out. Maybe you're saving, $80 per month starting out. So you feel like you're underwater a little bit, but the cost of electricity has been going up very fast lately, and we don't really anticipate that changing. So you might save $80 per month year one, but in 5 years, very easily, you could be saving $130, $140 per month. In 10 years, you could be saving $220, $230 per month. All the while, your monthly payment has stayed fixed at $100 per month. So there is real savings there just because of how aggressively the costs for electricity have been going up and likely will continue to go up as everything is moving towards being more electrified, electric cars, electric heat, pushing people in New York State away from natural gas, puts more stress on the grid, aging infrastructure. All of those things add up to a higher cost for electricity to homeowners in our area. And a lot of customers that we talk to, we find hate the fact that that's going to get worse and it's unpredictable. They're not sure how bad it's going to get. And solar just kind of squashes that concern for people. So long term, certainly solar is going to be a solve for that sort of unpredictability and savings over time.
And something I didn't mention from the last slide as well is for different term lengths for our financing as well. So you could take it out for a 10, 15, or 20-year loan. They're all going to be at that 6.99%. It's a super easy qualification process. It's just a link we send you, and then you'll put in, your income and other debts as well, similar to how you would do it with any bank. We work with a banking partner, and then you can get qualified within 20 minutes or so. So it's a pretty easy qualification process to see if you're approved for the solar loan. And like John said, as your neighbors next to you are saying their rates are going up, RG&E just approved a 5% rate increase for the next 3 years. So your energy rates are going up 15% over the next 3 years if you have RG&E. So you're going to see those rates rise, but if you take out your solar loan, it's just going to stay steady until you pay it off. And then once it's completely paid off, you're just going to see savings on your bill. And like I said, we do custom solar proposals. If you put your name and number in our website and your address, we can do them virtual or in person, whichever easier for you. We'll take a look at your energy bill. We'll make sure that we right size your system to cover as much as we possibly can. Like John said, we put it on your roof or on the ground if you have some extra land and want to put it out there. And it's a no pressure sales presentation. We're just here to educate you and show you your options with going solar. We're not, pushing you to sign anything at the end. None of our team are paid on commission. So they're all here just to educate as many people as we can about solar. And like I said, right now is the perfect time to go solar with our financing rates and the rates that they're at. You get locked in at that 6.99%. So as the Fed says they're going to continue raising interest rates, you're going to be locked in at that. And that's our overall presentation today. I know we only had 30 minutes together, so that's kind of Solar 101 and kind of how our financing works here at GreenSpark. I don't currently see any questions in the chat. I'll wait here for another minute or so to see if anybody has any questions that I can answer live. But that's our overall presentation. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And please put your name in our website if you want a custom solar proposal to see how it would kind of work for you and your home.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. You can definitely hang around to answer any questions that might pop up, or if you have more specific, kind of site-specific questions, we can certainly take your info and give you a call after the presentation's over and run that through with you, kind of one-on-one.
Does it make sense to add a battery to the system? That is a great question. So we do sell batteries here at GreenSpark. We're currently installing the Tesla Powerwall 2. How batteries will kind of work for your system here in New York is as a backup. So we'll work with you on if you want a whole home backup or if you just want certain critical loads backed up, like your fridge, any life-saving equipment, stuff like that. They are on the pricier side of things, but they are a really cool tech to install. They even have like sensors in it when it knows that a storm is coming to make sure that your battery is charged all the way up. It's a great question because the solar is connected to the grid. So when the grid is down, your solar does go down. But if you do have a battery, it would back up either your whole home or those critical loads, and it would be charged up via your solar. So it does make sense to add a battery, or if having home backup is something that you're interested in. Do you have any other thoughts on that, John?
Yeah, I think the question, does it make sense to add a battery? It depends on what you're looking to do with the battery, right? From a financial perspective, if your goal is the shortest payback possible and you don't care about power outages, I would say no, it doesn't really make sense. But if one of your big goals is you want to have power when there is no power, and you're looking at the price of a whole home generator and you want to shop around and you like the idea of your generator being renewable, then it definitely does make sense to look into it. And a lot of times what I'll end up doing is giving a homeowner a proposal for just the grid tied solar system, no battery, and then with solar system without the battery. Not sure which one I said first, but so you can weigh out your options and see what you think makes sense for you at this point. And also a benefit there with how we design the systems up front, you can add the battery on at a later date pretty simply and smoothly. So not that big of a difference in price either.
Yeah, and the batteries also have a 30% federal tax credit tied to them. So if you didn't do battery right now, in a year or so, you could add a battery. Or if you know someone that already has a solar system that would like a battery, you can let them know that those are eligible for the 30% tax credit. Or potentially if your home is not viable for solar, potentially based on the roof sizing or shading, or maybe you live in an HOA that it doesn't allow solar, we can still install a battery. It just wouldn't be charged up via your solar. It would just basically be like an electric generator for you. That's a great question.
Yep.
Let's see. I got another question here. With the current policy and system, is there an expiration date for the kilowatt hour saved on the grid? Imagine a home that has a credit even after 2 years of working with a solar installation. That is another great question. John, if I'm not mistaken, there currently isn't an expiration on your credits with the grid, but we try and size your system so that you don't have a ton of credits rolling over, because we don't want you just giving the grid free energy that is just sitting in a bank. It would be cool after a couple of years that was paid out to you or something, but that is not how it currently works with the grid system. So what we'll sit down and kind of talk to you about in your proposal is saying, okay, this is kind of how much you use right now. Do you plan on getting an EV? Do you plan on adding a heat pump? Do you plan on, having kids in the home that's going to add extra electricity? Kind of your future energy needs, so that you don't have a huge surplus just sitting with RG&E. We don't want you to pay for a bigger system just to have surplus sitting with the grid, but you can have a little bit of surplus in there maybe for the first few years, and then you get an EV and start using that up. There currently isn't an expiration date on it, but you can't get paid out for it. It just kind of sits in there. And if you ever were to move, you do lose those credits. You can't transfer them over somewhere else. So we try and right size your system so that, like John said, during the summer, you're banking those credits. And then during the winter months, you're kind of using up those credits, and you're kind of doing that seamlessly over time. So you don't have too much in that credit bank. Do you have anything else on that, John?
I would just say, if you have a solar consultation, we will work with you to plan for the future. And if that future for you means looks like you might be using more electricity, then we can look at bigger proposal, so you'll have a little bit of overproduction to help you there. But if you're not planning on ever using more electricity, don't think you'll use more than what you're using now, probably doesn't make sense.
Yep, that was a great question.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, we're right at time here. So thank you for your questions. And again, thank you for attending today. And please feel free to put your name and number in our website so we can kind of reach out to you and give you more information about